Hello and welcome to another episode of Pastor's Library. This is the channel where we discuss everything to do with theology books, books that might have escaped your attention, or books that might have appeared on a reading list for a seminary course, for a bachelor's or master's degree in theology or in biblical studies. Or maybe you've just seen them hanging around there and you want to know why people are interested in them. Well, this is where we try to help you. If you like what we have to say, please give us a thumbs up because that helps with the algorithm. Also, if you have any questions, leave them in the opportunity below. I will try and get back to all of you. And also, remember to subscribe if you haven't done already and click on the bell, and that will let you know when we release our next episode. So today I want us to talk about a collection of essays by one of the greats of recent years in the UK, Anthony Thiselton, who was ordained in the Anglican Church, but is mainly known for his great contribution to theological writings. In particular, he's done some great commentaries, a small one and a big one on 1 Corinthians. The big one, which is in the New International Greek Testament Commentary series, is outstanding. And he's done so many more ways that he's touched people. But he's always been a great journal writer. Modest articles, typical for the size of contribution to a journal. And recently, Routledge have published a new collection, Thiselton on Hermeneutics, which is, when I say it's recently, it actually came out in 2006. It's recently that I found it. But it's 827 pages, and it consists of 42 journal articles reprinted, which is quite a lot. Now, I do from time to time beat the drum for reading journals. When I was doing my master's degree at Bible College, they said to us all the time, read the books on the reading list, but scour the journals. What you get from the journals will help you even more than the choice of reading that you follow. And I believe that, and I have certainly found it to be very helpful to me to read the journals. Every year I subscribe to 4 journals. This year I'm on with 5. They're great ways of meeting new theologians, people that are just getting to the point of PhD status and writing articles to get themselves noticed. And the incredible wealth of stuff out there is well worth considering and engaging with. So when I see a book where they're all written by an outstanding author and there are 42 of them, sometimes I would have read a whole year's worth of journals in the hope that I might read one by Anthony Thiselton. So what I'm saying to you is he's a great value. And Routledge have just been promoting this. I mean, I'm speaking to you in March 2024, and I've just picked this up, I think, for about £36, which is an awful lot less than a quarter of the cost of it in hardback. But it's well bound, it's flexible, it's full of great reading, and I want to commend it to you. Amongst the people recommending this book are Joel Green, the great Luke Acts author, James Dunn, the late James Dunn, who has had such an impact on our theology, and John Barton, plus a load of others. And they do this because they recognise the value of journal articles and a collection like this. So, I've said to you there are 42, and it's called Thiselton on Hermeneutics. Hermeneutics, the study of the interpretation of biblical texts or texts in general. And this has always interested me because the very, very first module I studied by a correspondence course with the Bible college that I eventually got my master's from, was a module on hermeneutics. What I would say is that they have been usefully collected into 7 groups. So groups of articles all together in one place, and then you move over to the next grouping. The first grouping is called Situating the Subject, and that's clearly more about hermeneutics and its place for us in our world. Then there's a great section on hermeneutics and speech act theory, and I found there was some really good articles in that. One on changing the world. This is where I need to put my glasses on. There's a really good article in this section on Christology and a retrospective reappraisal of work on speech act theory, which that's a new essay which was written specifically for this work. Then there's a section on hermeneutics, semantics and conceptual grammar. And I really liked this section. There's an article called Justification by Grace as Legal Fiction. And that's really worth reading. I'm sure that will captivate many of you. Does the Bible call all Cretans liars? Now, I am sure that you, like me, have often read that scripture and wondered what that's all about. Well, Thiselton will help you with that. There's a section on lexicography, exegesis and reception history, and the first one of those articles is called Greek Lexicography and the Context of Argument, the Interpretation of Tongues, a new suggestion in the light of Greek usage in Philo and Josephus. Now, I have to say, I just sort of flicked through that. I immediately was engaged by his writing, and I ended up just reading that very quickly. I found it really helpful. Meanings and Greek translation relating to spiritual gifts. That's a really interesting one, particularly as it's one that so many people get very upset about, and people tend to sort of relax into denominational settings when they're talking about spiritual gifts. But I think it's good. And then if that offends anyone, then the next one is Hermeneutics of Pastoral Theology, which I really would think that would be very hard to offend anyone at all. The Varied Hermeneutic Dynamics of Parables, which is in the 5th section on parables, narrative worlds and reader response theory. The Bible and Today's Readers, The Two Horizons and Pre-Understanding, is a great article. So, to be honest with you, I haven't read one of these that I didn't find really helpful. I have, over the years, found Thiselton to be such a great well to draw deeply from. He's very wise. He was, of course, he's the late Anthony Thiselton now, but he has really impacted modern theology very, very powerfully. Then there's a section on philosophy, language, theology, and post-modernity. And I found this to be very helpful. Postmodern challenges to hermeneutics raises certain key issues which I think we all need to be aware of. Can a pre-modern Bible address a postmodern world? Is an article he wrote in 2003, which is in this collection. That's a very, very good question. And he answers it with authority and great realism. I really like that. The last section is called Hermeneutics, History and Theology, and that has articles on theology and creedal traditions, time and grand narrative, dialogue, dialectic and temporal horizons. And then there's a great one comparing Luther and Barth on 1 Corinthians 15. What am I saying? With this one purchase of one book, you will have access to a couple of decades, well, actually more than that, at least 3 decades worth of his writings. Very impactful, high quality journal articles which have all got great footnotes, connections to everything that they're quoting, and they're written to the highest standard. that is required in theological journals. I would say to you, this offers an unbelievable level of value. 42 by one man who you will never read a bad article that he's written. These are absolutely excellent. Of course, they're all peer-reviewed, and that makes a massive difference. So, I would say to you, this has been one of my great discoveries recently. I just got a voucher in the email from Routledge, and do look out for vouchers. I think it was either 25 or 33%, can't remember which. But I went online to see if they had anything that interested me, because I often find Routledge don't have a lot at any one time that tempts me. But I went on and I saw this book. I thought, oh, Anthony Thiselton, let's have a look. And by the time I'd spent the voucher, I just figured I'd had great value for money. And I have to say, from order to delivery in the UK was only a week. And I think, I may be wrong, but I think they maybe print these to order. It has that look about it. Anyway, that's a book I thoroughly recommend. As you know, I do go on a lot about collections of journal articles into books, and this is definitely one that I would raise before you. If you like what I've said today, please give us a thumbs up. Please make sure you've subscribed and clicked on the bell. That's really important. Any questions, queries, observations, requests, please put them in the notes below, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Pastor's Library. Until then, bye!